You're listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, where you get valuable information you just can't find anywhere else. To thrive in today's trying times, you need the Financial Survival Network, now more than ever. Go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com and get your free newsletter and gift. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.
Welcome. You are listening to Watching the Financial Survival Network. I'm Kerry Lutz. Well, hey, here we are, end of July. Bitcoin's down in the low 20,000s. Cryptos are pretty much in the dumps. And is it a good time to buy, or is it your last chance to flee? Well, Greg Johnson is with us. Greg, hey, you are involved with RubiconCrypto.com. And you have your opinion about this. What is going on with cryptos? Is the decline over, or do we have more to follow?
I think we still have a long way to go, Kerry. Thanks for having me, and it's good to be with you. Look, I think in some respects, I'm the CEO and co-founder of a company, but yet so far this year, it's been like I've been the lifeguard in the sea of crypto crazy at times. And I think it gets back to answering your question. I think people just need to take a step back and use some common sense when it comes to crypto, no matter what side of the industry that they're coming into. We see that's what's missing more than anything else. But that's how I would first respond to the question.
Yeah, well, I know people who a short time ago were multi-hundred millionaire crypto Bitcoin owners, and now they're probably in the 8-figure range. They're not exactly in poverty. But no. I guess that Gulfstream, that GS650 they were shopping for probably is off the table right now.
At least for this year, perhaps. I think for the remainder of the year. And, look, I think what attracts many people, including myself, into this space is the notion that you think about the future and you make a couple of decisions. You have to ask yourself, do you believe that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, that we're going to be more dependent on technology? And I think most people know the answer to that is yes. And I think the second question folks need to be answering when they start talking about crypto and whether it's for them and how much and so forth is, do you think some of that technological advancement is going to be digital? And, my goodness, coming out of this bloody pandemic, I think we all found out that we're interested in being decentralized more than we thought we were. And when you answer yes to both of those questions, now you should start thinking about, well, where do I get involved and how much? And that's where we see so many people, including some of those potential Gulfstream candidates, really got over their skis, Kerry. They got too far in, and they weren't looking at this, ironically, with enough rational exuberance, as our friend Mr. Greenspan would have said 20 years ago.
Yes, that is true. I've always kept a small crypto position over the years, a lot, just to have skin in the game, so I actually know what I'm talking
Smart.
about. And my interest isn't just as an observer, but I will tell you this. Remember December 2017?
I do.
Remember, I guess it was November of last year, 2021?
I remember it fondly and well.
Yeah, and what happened both of those times?
Well, we had a significant change in the barometric pressure, let's put it that way, regarding those crypto markets. And I think for most people that have gotten involved in crypto, they didn't have the foresight that you did to be involved back then. But this past November, I was speaking and doing some other media, and we were talking about the fact that, look, this could change and change pretty significantly. Now, we didn't see this happening, but we felt this was a possibility. And the reason we felt that, looking back at November, is you remember what happened also in November? We got a glimpse of what those Fed meeting minutes look like. And that has taken on a big bit of prominence in the crypto world. And we saw for the first time in writing the Fed minutes talking about, I think there's going to be a lot of interest rate hikes coming up in 2022. And the big difference between that first time frame in 2017 and today is, I don't know if it's dead, but the notion that crypto and the other so-called risk assets not being correlated, well, that's on life support, sir. It's no longer this absolute guarantee that crypto is going to do things differently than those other equity assets folks have in their portfolio. And that's because all the institutional money came in since 2017 and it changed the behavior. And you're seeing that right now.
So 2017, we had the peak of 19,700. November 2021, we had 67.7. And like I say, I didn't catch it on the way up, but I wasn't catching a falling knife on the way down. I called both of those peaks. The first time I expected it to hit 2,200, I was going to be a buyer, and I was just off. This time, it could very well hit the low five figures, could break it, right? It could easily break 10,000.
I think it's all possible. I think we believe that we may not get that far down, but we'll certainly concede to you that, or anybody else, that we could see the kind of volatility that you're speaking about. We advise anybody that's entering in this space that they should be prepared for not just volatility, but the most extreme volatility they've probably ever experienced investing before. And we also caution that people, if they're going to get in, much maybe like you probably had the perspective just to have a little exposure in there, it's not long-term investing like we used to say in the old days in the 90s and the turn of the century, but it's not long-term, it's longest term. And I think that's where people get sideways on this. And it's disappointing. You have to have a very long-term perspective, because even though we're very hyped up about crypto and it's been in the news now, and you were talking about it, 4 or 5 years ago now already, the reality is we're still, in our view, really early. It's still super early.
Well, there was one other thing that happened in 2017 and 2021. That was the North American Bitcoin conference, or whatever they're calling it now, in Miami. Those two incidences corresponded perfectly to the peak in Bitcoin. And I would aver, I'm not the best technical analyst or even a technical analyst or stock analyst, but if I can see the chart formation, then any of you out there should see it. And it was inevitable that they were going to crash. And I called it both times, not bragging, but just because it's not a currency. Cryptos are not currencies. They are, like you said, an asset class. And unfortunately, in our dumbed down economic universe here, 99% of the people don't know the difference between a currency, what makes money, and an asset. In theory, I've got this rock on my desk here, and I paid a certain amount for it, and I could trade it, and it could be a currency, but I can't chop it up. It's not really very portable. I can't send it to your digital wallet, right? Mm-hmm. It's not divisible. It's not portable. It's it doesn't have the aspect of a currency, and that's what the average number of people who got into cryptos had no clue about, that you really can't spend the stuff.
Don't just survive, thrive. The Financial Survival Network.
Fury Gold Mines is a Canada-focused exploration and development company committed to aggressively growing its scalable, high-grade gold assets with major drill campaigns planned across its 3.5 million ounce portfolio. Fury is led by a management team of proven explorers and developers with a track record of success in advancing and financing project development. Fury Gold Mines is well positioned to create value for investors with low-risk development growth and the potential for a new major discovery. Fury Gold Mines trades on the TSX and NYSE American under the ticker FURY. To learn more, go to furygoldmines.com. That's furygoldmines.com.
This is the Financial Survival Network, the information you need to thrive now more than ever.
Well, I think what's interesting is that, and you're being very humble, and you know a lot more about this than the average bear, but the reality is that we're seeing that these new asset classes, some of them actually do function like currencies, others more traditional assets, and others more like commodities. And I think that's what makes it very difficult for the regulatory community to figure out how we're going to supervise, how we're going to enforce, how we're going to regulate these emerging asset classes. But I will say this, and that people need to realize one thing for sure. It doesn't really matter what we think here in the United States. The evolution of these technologies, because they are technologies also, is going to continue whether we want to be the leader in it or not. And I'm an unapologetic believer in American exceptionalism. And I want us to be exceptional in these new digital asset classes. So we do need to pay attention. We do need to be pragmatic, and we do need to be prudent. And we have to be very, very mindful is that if we're not careful, we will lose our primacy in what many believe, including myself, will be the future of how economic transfer of value takes place. And that's really what we're talking about.
I totally agree with you on that. The technology is evolving. The concept of smart contracts, the concept of I believe, even though that NFTs are currently out of vogue, Klaus Schwab said of the World Economic Conference, you're not going to own anything and you're going to be happy about it. I think he was referring to all of your assets will be held in the form of an NFT. All a filing in a county clerk's office is evidence of a transfer or an ownership interest in a property. And that goes with any kind of asset that gets registered anywhere. So the idea of the blockchain being the ultimate county clerk's office, it's really where this technology's at. As far as replacing currencies, well, it seems the writing's on the wall. Governments will be implementing central bank digital currencies. There's no question. We've had them all along, but they weren't attached to the blockchain. They were not tracking and their surveillance capabilities. It's no coincidence that communist China is the first country to do a digital yuan, their currency unit.
Well, you just touched on 3 or 4 things that I don't know if I could even unpack any of them properly. But the first one I would tell you is that your sense of where NFTs are going and their importance. Look, it's not a surprise that the early NFT audience, really glommed onto the fact that, we could treat these like digital baseball cards in the collectibles market and high art. And those are really, very logical places where this technology makes sense. But you just mentioned talking about NFTs for ownership and proof of ownership. And it's interesting. I think the future of membership reward programs like American Express points or your Delta miles or your Marriott points or wherever you frequent, all of those programs are going to have a tokenized NFT component to them. And I know that's a big mouthful, but there's already work going on, practical work going on that involves blockchains. And the word that you said, smart contract, which we can thank our friend Nick Sabo for bringing into the world. And that's something that I get very, very excited about. You also brought up China. There's a member on our advisory board who used to work at the U.S. Treasury, and he says that China's been standing on the podium of the new digital currency Olympics for a long time, and everybody else is trying to catch up and see where we go there. And I'm making a little bit of I'm trying to bring a little bit of levity to that statement, but the fact remains that I believe that there'll be one coin that rules them all. If we're not careful and we let China continue to develop a primacy with their central bank digital currency, you could see them exporting that technology. And our Venezuelan friends south of the border could have a digital bolivar powered by Chinese technology and not used for the forces of good. Let's just put it that way. So you touched on a number of really important subjects there in one bit.
So one thing I want to just cover with you, Greg, is I know a lot of crypto people, and they've been telling me for years I didn't know anything about it. I didn't understand it, that this time it really was different, that cryptos weren't like any other asset class, that cryptos will never go down. And,
nonsense.
This is ridiculousness. Like I said, my contention was I'm agnostic. Cryptos are a market like any other, subject to market forces, and
yes, they are.
Forces up and down. And who's laughing now?
Well, I just think we just have a long view. And I will tell you, I am very sensitive to the fact that a lot of folks who got in over their skis and made a lot of big bets on crypto are now suffering, and some of them suffering permanently. And some of them, I think if they can wait it out, they may be okay. And there is no crying in crypto. If you're going to get involved in crypto, sorry, apologies to Tom Hanks and A League of Their Own, but there's really no crying in crypto. You should come in eyes wide open, much like you did, that there will be incredible volatility. And again, I come back to that longest term. Kerry, if I was your CFP back in 97 when I was still in private practice, and I came to you and I said, hey, I'd like you to throw 10,000 into this company. It's going to be named after some river in South America. It's going to be called Amazon. They're going to sell these books, and where are they going to sell them? On the line? I don't buy anything on the line. I don't have a computer. I mean, I'm not going to buy. All right, Greg, you've done a great job. Go ahead and do it. And if I said to you, I put you in with 10K back then, you're probably pretty happy with me now. Most people would say that. What I remind people, though, is that for 13 years, the reason you wanted to fire me as your financial advisor, or the one thing that you continued to dog me about over 13 years, was this Amazon company that was dragging down the rest of the portfolio. And so when I say to people we're early, we have to have that long-term mindset, much because the network wasn't developed that Amazon now pipes into with great efficiency. I'm not saying to you that crypto or any particular digital asset is going to be Amazon, but what I am saying is it does take time for these networks to develop and to see where we're going to go with them. So just an observation I like to make at times.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. And yeah, but it's a market. First and foremost, it's a market. It might not be like any other market we've ever known, but neither were the .coms and all these other things that we see.
Anyone who said that it was not coming down and it was different, that is utter nonsense. It will continue to have incredible volatility until we see normalcy. So we encourage consumers thinking about this space to you don't need a Pokemon Go app on your phone to see things hiding in plain sight. What I would look to is some of the Main Street America signs that there is this new economy and that it will involve blockchains and some of the things that you mentioned earlier before. Walmart hosting crypto ATMs in a large part of their footprint, which they announced last year, that's not by accident. That's a laboratory that they're doing. Fidelity Investments, one of the largest investments, prudent, conservative brands in the world, decided that they're going to have Bitcoin in 401ks, not because they're going to get rich doing it, because they see the future and the need to invest in that technology. So we have to look for those signs and be more pragmatic about it.
Exactly. All right. Well, hey, Greg, it's been a pleasure having you on. You're definitely going to be on our list of crypto connoisseurs. And,
high praise.
And hey, just tell us again the site where we find you and how to connect with you on the web.
Of course, you can find us at rubiconcrypto.com.
All right. Excellent. And there's a link in the show notes to this interview on financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Make sure you sign up for your free newsletter. If you got a question for Greg, as always, you can shoot me an email. We'll get you an answer. Greg, been a total pleasure. We'll talk to you real soon.
Looking forward to it. Thanks, Kerry.
Thanks for listening to Kerry Lutz's Financial Survival Network, your solution to today's trying times. For the latest, go to financialsurvivalnetwork.com. Financial Survival Network, now more than ever.